All right, well, good afternoon. This is a good evening with Coffee with King David today. Hi, everyone. How are you? I'm glad you're here today. We got Caleb Arsement here with us today.
Hello.
The second from the youngest.
But the number one best, right?
He believes that.
No, he's actually told me that many times off camera, so Can we get it on camera?
No.
Why not?
I can't do that.
You can't because it's not true. You can't because you would offend other people.
How much can you pay? Yeah, that would cost you. So, but anyway, we're here with Caleb. We got some questions for him this morning, or this afternoon. I keep saying this morning because I'm used to doing Coffee with King David in the morning, but it's in the evening, and I've been at the ranch all day long. I'm wearing my ranch clothes. I'm an official Dallas Cowboy today.
Nice. Official Dallas Cowboy?
Hey, put the clapping in the background. There we do it.
Nice.
All right, Caleb, here's some questions for you. First of all, who are you?
That's the whole question?
Make it hard.
Who are you and?
Caleb is the fifth of six children between Jay and I.
That's who I am.
And he's the second to the youngest. He's Joshua's older brother, Preston's little brother, Keely's little brother.
AKA I had all of the middle child problems. So yeah.
How old are you, Caleb?
I'm 20 years old.
And when was your birthday?
Last month. Yeah, I just turned 20.
Recent, so you just turned 20. And what do you do? Do you work for TBNR?
Yeah, so it's a little complicated. As soon as I got out of high school, I started working with Preston, just really mentoring under him and learning a lot. I was an employee and did a lot of creative work on his gaming channels for about a year. And then I left and came back, or I left because at the time I was super into fitness. You know this, me coming home sweaty and tired many days of the week. And decided to get my personal training license. Got halfway through that, and then my whole life got changed because I met the love of my life, Ariana, who's my wife, and we're now married.
When did
Spoiler.
you get married?
So I got married 8 months ago.
What day was that?
The 31st of December.
31st.
You trying to test me? He's testing me right off the bat.
You won't forget.
I appreciate it. That's disappointing. Yeah, you're just like, it's all downhill from now on.
And how old were you when you got married?
I was 19 years old. Yeah.
Was it a great decision in your life?
It was the best decision that the Lord has ever helped me make because it wasn't of myself.
Yeah.
People tell you all the time that getting married young is a mistake, and you hear all the horror stories. And typically I would agree. I would say that it's probably not the wisest decision if you're not led by the Lord to do it. But it was something both Ari and I were really confident that it wasn't just us, that the Lord was leading us to do it, and that it was good, and that I think it's also biblical if you're ready to get married, that you get married. So.
And you got
it's been we got lots of counseling before.
And then at your church, you got lots and lots of counseling.
Yeah, we had a lot of.
It wasn't like you just said, "Hey, let's just get married."
Yeah, we weren't just hopping into it. We thought about it a lot. We prayed about it a lot, and the Lord, like you said, led us into really good counseling from a lot of really helpful people, and it really has blessed our marriage. We'll never have the horror story of our first year. Right. We'll always have just like a wonderful memory of. Yeah, like the Lord has blessed us so much. And many times I wake up and I'm like,
and our whole
can't believe this is real.
Loves Ari. She's just the sweetest, most kindest, wonderful. Loves to come over, hang out with us. Easy to talk to.
Even without me.
And even without her, Caleb, she'll come over and hang out with us. All Saturday this last weekend she hung out with us. All right, Caleb. So next question, I want to ask you a little bit about. You just went on a missionary trip.
Yes, mission trip.
And you told me all about it. I want you to tell them a little bit about it. And you're wearing a shirt that says Yeshua. And while we were sitting there waiting on the video, we figured that means you equal.
Don't put me in. Don't say we.
You equal a superhero under authority. Whose authority are you under?
I'm under the authority of Yeshua, but I do not agree with that acronym because it doesn't make sense.
I love it. So,
because does S stand for equal?
There's only one letter missing.
What's the
of?
And equal.
U equal.
What do you get the equal?
Superhero. U-Y-E.
Dad, don't make me embarrass you.
Don't make me embarrass you.
Yeah, but it was amazing. It was Ari and I's first trip together, and it was amazing. I mean, I think I had wanted to do it for so long, and I knew that the Lord was calling me to ministry in some sort of fashion, but I didn't know when and I didn't know where.
Let's give a few details, okay? If we start So he went down to Bogota, Colombia. He landed there, and then they flew over to.
He knows it better than I do.
Colombia, and they landed, and tell them a little bit what it was like there.
I mean, it was amazing. I mean, at the first few days, I really didn't. I was still kind of struggling with, you know, when you're here in Dallas and you really you're just kind of stuck in the day-to-day. Business is business. You're kind of stuck in your, I don't know. It was just like a little bit of numbness and hard-heartedness. And Western mindset. I was really praying that the Lord would help me to kind of break through that and really have a heart for the lost, for the people that really didn't know Him. And so, it was wonderful. The first 3 days, the Lord just changed that, because it was amazing to see. You know, the first day we walked out, it was humbling to see like the people having dirt floors. They have holes in their walls. You know, they don't have roofs, and they're just hungry for the gospel. They've never heard it before. They don't have the good news. They don't have a lot of the pride that a lot of people here, you know, struggle with of not being open to listening to things. And there was the first day there. It was amazing. You know, I would talk to 12 people in an hour, and 11 of them would accept Jesus into their hearts, and they would, tears down their faces, and their lives forever changed, like right then and there. And these people they were so hungry. They were just poor, and they needed to hear the good news. And so it was amazing to see that, to see people. I mean, there was one story of a man who was a Venezuelan refugee who was basically doing a drug trade from Venezuela, and he got saved that day, changed his whole life around, told everybody that he was going to call the people he worked with and cancel the whole trade. And he had his partner who was pregnant, and they both gave their lives to Christ. They showed up at the Bible study that night at the church we were working with, and I mean, he could just tell his life was changed. He was sold out for Jesus.
Wow.
And the day before, he was a drug dealer. A drug trader, like he wasn't just a drug dealer. Wow. So it was amazing to see that type of thing, and it was incredible. Lots of stories like that.
People gave their heart to Christ.
Yeah, we had a really big team with everybody there. I don't know the exact number. I know that over 2,400 I think heard the gospel, and over 1,700 people professed faith in Christ.
Wow.
So yeah, it was amazing, and the Lord did so many things there. It was really awesome.
Rejoice when just one.
When just one, yeah. But all of heaven rejoices when only one sinner repents. More than 100 righteous persons was the scripture.
Yeah.
100 righteous persons who need no repenting. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it was really amazing.
Wow, what a great adventure that was for you.
It was surely an adventure. I think the biggest thing I took away was going there. I was not fearful at all about sharing the gospel. I wasn't fearful about certain things, but I was very afraid to bring Ariana, because obviously I'm terrified to a lot of times for her to be alone in our safe condo here in Dallas, let alone walk in the streets of Colombia without me right next to her. So it's like, it was scary, and the Lord, He really helped me to kind of work through that, which was great too.
What advice would you give somebody who's interested in doing missionary work?
Just do it. I would give that advice to any Christian, not just a missionary.
Who do they connect with?
Either, I mean, your church probably has some connections. If you don't have someone at your church, for how we got connected at our church, we have a mission leader. I think a lot of churches have that, and if your church don't, they know people who do. And there's lots of organizations online. Just find somebody who's just preaching the gospel. Don't look for something fancy, and just go. I think the Lord will bless you. I know one of the books that I read in high school and I gave to you is Brushko, which is a fantastic book about the 17-year-old kid who just gets saved, gives up his whole life, and goes alone basically into the jungle, and the Lord used him to save.
Fascinating book. It's called
Yeah, you should read it.
Everybody should read that.
Yeah.
So tell me, how do you witness here in the United States? I've seen you do it plenty. I know how you do it. But tell me, how do you witness here?
Well, I mean, that's one of those things I'm learning. You know, I think that one of the things I've been struggling with ever since I got back even is that you can say you're going on a missions trip, but when you come back from a missions trip, it shouldn't end. You're on mission. If you're a Christian, you're on mission. The Great Commission is to go out and make disciples of every nation, not just going out to Colombia and sharing the gospel. So I think it's really easy to go on a missions trip, and I believe every Christian should really consider going on some sort of missions trip, just because you'll see, it's like seeing the New Testament come to life right before your eyes. But it's really easy to come back and just get off the mountain. You know, when you're on the missions trip, you're on a mountain and wow, everything is amazing and the Lord's doing things amazingly. And then you come back and it's really easy to just be like, all right, I'm here. I'm just going to go through my life. And people here don't need Jesus the way that they need him there. And they do.
They do.
People need Jesus just as bad here as they do anywhere in the world. People without the gospel have no hope, and they're heading for punishment. And they need to know the good news that the Lord loves them and that he sent, his one son.
This is true. I find the easiest way to witness and to do missionary work here is to be yourself.
Yeah.
If you just love the gospel, you love Christ and what he did for you, which every good Christian should.
Yeah, I think that there's a part of it.
Yourself, and the next thing you know, you're talking to somebody in an Uber or wherever you're at, and the Lord will open the door. Sometimes you plan, sometimes you see the seed grow.
Yeah. I think something I've been working through ever since I got back is the idea that it shouldn't be easy. There's a lot. I think if someone wants to get a good starter, going to Colombia or something where people are already really hungry, that's a good place to start. But in America, it's like you're on like a hard difficulty mode because people are pushing you back, and there's a lot more, I think, pride, and there's a lot more just walls going up. And so I think I think being yourself is a huge thing, following with the Lord, but sometimes it's just hard and you have to do it anyways. And you have to push those conversations. I heard a story the other day from a guy. His testimony was that he grew up in a Christian home, but then he left his faith in college, and he was working this job, and he basically was super agnostic. He didn't want to hear anything about God. And he got saved because some guy at his work just kept talking about Jesus and kept being like, hey, talk to me about this. I want to talk to you about it. And it wasn't pleasant. It wasn't a pleasant conversation. But 3 months later, because of those conversations, the guy had a dream that the Lord revealed himself to that man. And it was because of those conversations that he got saved. Those uncomfortable conversations that he didn't even want to have. And so obviously it's not a situation of like, ask the Lord to open doors and he'll open them, and ask the Lord to close doors and he'll close them. But I've one of my favorite quotes is a pastor who says, like, when you ask for the Lord to open doors for the gospel to be preached to someone, he'll open it and you won't like it. You won't like it because it's so clear. Yeah. It's like, ask the Lord to open the doors for that person, and he'll come sit right next to you. And then you have to, it's hard. It's not as easy as whenever people are poor and they know they need something.
It's good to have a plan. I find in the United States, it's called the Roman Road to Heaven. You can look it up. It's online. It's easy to find. But it gives you an outline of scripture that just brings you right through the gospel and how to bring someone to salvation.
Yeah.
It's a great technique. Let's talk about music.
I was just about to mention that. That's another way.
Our family, music is another way. I use music a lot to witness to people with my songs and my Christian songs and so forth. Caleb is a singer, and he plays guitar and sings and worship at his church. I think he's the best singer in our family by far. And he's done one song with Keely, and it's called The Moon. What's it called?
Conversation with the Moon.
Conversation with the Moon. You go listen to it. It's one of the best songs Keely and Caleb ever done, but it's beautiful. You ever got any plans to do music in the future?
Yes. And I don't know when. So
it's going to happen by osmosis?
No, it's not going to happen by osmosis, but I'm kind of figuring out this marriage thing and providing for a household thing.
The Bible says in the first year of marriage, focus totally on her, nothing else.
And
Take care
I
of her.
really, I'm just, waiting on the Lord for it, because I ever since I've gotten married, I've been wanting to get back into using music in general, because it was something that was such a big part of my life growing up. But yeah, I really do want to write more music, and I know that's a gift that the Lord has given me, and I really want to use it. So I'm just gonna.
And I wrote a song before Caleb and I already got married. I wrote a song, and I'm going to put that on this next album. And so, but
Such a good song.
Talk about that later on. But anyway, I think we'll end it here right now. Thanks, Caleb, for coming and showing up tonight. And I just love you. You're just my favorite person
Son.
right now.
Right now. Don't worry, I'll get with Jesse and we'll edit out the right now.
I can't make Preston mad at me. He's kind of my boss. He is
Kinda.
my boss. All right.
Love you too, Dan.
Thank y'all for coming. Appreciate you. I'm glad we got to have Caleb on board today.